My name is Erica Redding, and I work currently as a teacher, but I've spent a lot of time over the years working in mental health, working through all stages of treatment centers and in different mental health facilities, everywhere from direct care to administration. I had always been the kind of person that people wanted to come to talk about their problems, and I always kind of saw myself as a support for my friends and family, and just kind of being able to be there for them. So it sort of always felt like my calling, and always felt like something, an area of life and career that I was destined to be in. There are many issues that are going on in the US currently, and a lot of them have to do with mental health, but it is not the sole issue. So there are a lot of things to be worked on in our entire U.S. system. There is issues with the criminal justice system, with the mental health system, with the healthcare system, and with the educational system. However, every last one of those seems to still kind of correlate and come together and involve mental health. One of the things that I've always thought that people should do whenever it comes to trying to have a more stable mental health, or to feel more stable, is to have more balance in their life. I think that people can often overcorrect, and if they feel like there's one area in their life that is an issue, then they feel like either it's always going to be an issue, or it's something that is not fixable, or if they are able to correct it, they often overcorrect, which is just eliminating it altogether. I think that it's more about learning your own abilities, and harnessing those and using them for your own benefit, rather than considering them as something that is wrong with you, or something that inhibits you from being able to do something or accomplish what you want to accomplish. I think that there might be a way to instead harness those abilities and use them for your own personal gain and your own personal progression in life. I do feel that in the West there are a lot of issues with, it's kind of more focused on not on balance, but on doing as much as you possibly can without and giving and giving and giving of yourself. So many careers are structured around how many hours can you put in, how much time can you spend doing these projects, staying up later, less sleeping. So I don't think that a lot of the Western culture is focused on having balance and having healthy mental space, because it doesn't really allow for that. It's more about what can you do? What are you able to accomplish? But in that, it doesn't include what do you do for yourself, and how do you make yourself a happier person so that you're able to accomplish these things. It's more about figure out as fast as you can what it is that you are good at, and pump that out, make that money, be successful, which doesn't mean the same thing for everyone. But the idea of success in the US is making money, and that can be actually a huge stressor. I do believe that a lot of the culture that is going on in the US can contradict having a healthy mental space, because it's not about that. It's about learning to subdue. We're now in the pop-up pill culture. And whereas there are many mental health issues, and other issues as well, that can require medication, and that can be a good thing. But I think that it doesn't mean that just because you have an issue means that you must take a pill. Right now, the American dream seems to be more focused on making money and not really having much of a family life, or even if you do have a family, you're not even able to spend much time with them because you're so busy trying to progress your own career. And that's kind of had a horrible effect on many generations of children who are then not having their dad or their mom or someone who is able to be there because they're either having to work all the time or feeling like they want to work all the time or feeling like they must work all the time in order to then provide for their family. But what then are we doing? If you're not able to spend the time with the people that you love and able to actually live your dream, then is all of that success really success? If you're then not able to enjoy the what you have constructed. Currently in the U.S., we're experiencing a lot of problems with the judicial system, school shootings, lots of homicides, and people not really knowing even who they can trust. And a lot of that has to do, I think, with it becoming a more me society, focusing on your own self and kind of ignoring everything that's going on around you. There's obviously a huge issue with guns and gun control and what we need to do about that. And both sides are not hearing each other because they're not willing to listen. They're focused on their own agenda and their own idea, not willing to meet in the middle. The pop-up pill, the anonymity, the social media, it just distances all of us from each other and kind of makes us a little more self-centered and self-focused. But really, we need each other. Humans are social beings where we're meant to respond to each other, to disagree, to argue. That's what makes great things happen. Because, I mean, if everyone agreed with everything that everybody said all the time, then the world would be pretty boring, I think, and wouldn't really have any room for progression at all because we'd all just be sitting around enjoying the same thing, I suppose. I think that each generation is important. And the way that we're able to rebuild a culture is by starting from the ground up, which means by starting with our children and starting to teach them how to understand and respect each other without compromising who you are and while still discovering who you are. But understanding that each person is on their own path and their own mission, and that's okay. Sometimes that allows for a lot of collaboration and involvement, and sometimes it means separating and getting with the people that are bringing you up. But I think that the key really has always been and will always be the children. People want to think that adults are in charge of everything, but the fact of the matter is that each generation of youth, they're the ones who are going to be taking the world that we're leaving behind. So I think that by teaching them that more about each other and remembering our mistakes and using those, not continuously cycling and doing them again and again, but instead to utilize that information that we've experienced before, teach the kids, appropriate child level, of course, as they're growing. But I think that it could really benefit our entire society to just have a more collaborative way to raise our kids. Everyone doesn't need to be raised individually. And there's a reason why they say it takes a village, and that's because it does. And involving a lot of people in each youth's life gives them the opportunity to understand how different people live and how different people make happiness happen for them. I think that if we're able to raise our younger generation to be more educated on themselves and each other, that by that we will then be able to raise a generation of more understanding individuals and people that are able to hear each other out. Not only do they understand how their own strengths and weaknesses, but they also understand that different people have different strengths and weaknesses. and that those can be good things. That's why we're all built differently. We all think differently. We all feel differently, and those are good things. That means that you can use all of those things and have different ideas about creating a better society. And I think that the younger that we start to instill those sorts of ideas, acceptance and lovingness and growth, and making mistakes is okay, but you want to learn from them. I think that the sooner that we're able to start that discussion, not be so afraid to talk to our kids about different issues, about these school shootings. You cannot hide your head in the sand. But of course, there are age-appropriate ways to discuss these things. I think that one of the links between um, people learning more about themselves and each other and it having a positive effect on mental health is that then we will be able to find those common grounds. We'll be able to understand, oh, they feel these feelings of anxiety as well. Oh, these people get sad from time to time too. What do they do to what are their coping skills? What are the different things that they do that could maybe help you or help any individual? So and some of those things will work for each other and some of them will not. But I mean, to have a more open communication and ability to listen to other people, you might be able to then pull from their experiences to teach yourself to be a better version of yourself.